you engaged. We can provide all the, everything, the positive environment, all the activities. But if you don't do it, then you're not going to succeed. If you just sit on the sideline saying, oh yeah, okay, sure, oh, here we go, another post. If you don't engage and take it in and actually apply yourself with gratitude, manifestation, you're not gonna be successful. It's a waste of time coming here. I always say when people, I'm having a conversation, if you want to invest in you, you're gonna succeed. If you want to change as an individual, because anybody can be taught mortgages, but if you're an asshole and you don't want to learn about mortgages or learn about being a positive person and changing your frame of mind, it's not gonna work for you.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
All right, this is Real Talk with Carmen Costa. Today I have the heart of TCG. I'm going to say the heart because both of you guys run the admin office. Without Lisa, you're the I like controller, right?
No, stop calling me that. My husband loves that title. He says it suits me perfectly. Operations manager is the title you've given me.
Operations manager, that's right. And Shannon, you're payroll compliance, right? So
Correct.
Everybody goes to you for their pay, right?
Yep.
So I wanted to bring you guys on so people were introduced to the heart of TCG. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about, how you joined TCG. What made you decide to join us?
So I had been working in a completely different industry, in the transportation industry, as an operations manager, basically, for 18 years. And I wanted to change. My health had diminished. I was putting in way too many hours, felt unappreciated. And I decided I needed a change. And I loved working with numbers. And I just researched, what can I do?
That's amazing. You fell upon mortgages.
I did, which is strange. So my background's actually sociology. So watching people, observing people.
That makes complete sense.
So if you're ever around me and I'm creepily staring at you, as Carmen calls it, I like to read people's body language.
I didn't know that this is so interesting. That's amazing. You're in a perfect position then because you can read anybody we're interviewing.
Yeah, some people are harder than others. Some people, their tells are very obvious. I don't get invited to poker games, I'll tell you. I'll tell you that much. That's not allowed usually. But I usually am very good at making people feel at ease and allowing their natural personalities come out when they're nervous or anxious about things. So I'm usually pretty good at that. So anyway, I worked with numbers my whole life. I did nothing to do in my sociology field. And I came across mortgages and I thought I could work for myself. I could work as hard as I do now, but I'm the one that reaps the benefits. I'm not making
100%.
money for the man. I'm making money for myself now and my family. And so I looked into that and I had some real estate friends. And Jackie Thomas, shout out to Jackie Thomas, put me in contact with Dee Scrow, one of your originals.
Yeah, the OG.
Yeah.
OGD. Yeah, so you came in, we interviewed, and I remember that interview was interesting because you kept staring at me. I'm like, why is she staring at me?
I remember afterwards, you're like, it's like you were looking into my soul.
100%. And it was interesting. And you just didn't go to the other interviews. You were like, all right, let's
I had
do
one
this.
that afternoon with someone that you did not think I would fit with. And you weren't saying that because you were trying to keep me. I hope you wanted me, but you said if I wanted to go to that specific brokerage or network that you had some contacts that you would give me the ones that you felt were a good fit, which was
100%.
was very nice. But I got in my car that day and I called the secretary of the brokerage I was going to and I canceled. And then I called you and I said, I'm going to join you.
Yeah, and then you started as an agent and then you just went up the ranks really quickly, right? Became operations manager. I'm like, so this is funny because we work well together. And I was saying to Zarain's like, why are you bringing them on? I'm like, because people need to understand our dynamics. I come in, I'm like a whirlwind, right? And then you're like, okay, bring it down, write everything down because I'm not a note taker, by far not a note taker. But you do. And then you send me the summary and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I did say this. But it's amazing. It's just like, it's weird how the universe just meshes people together. And I thought that was awesome. Shannon, you came on board. Tell us a little bit about your background, and how you came into mortgages.
So a little bit like Lisa, I was in an industry for 26 years that I thought was it. And it wasn't. Hospitality is amazing. I still feel like hospitality is still in this industry because you're still meeting people, you're learning how people are, and you want to do good by them. So I left the Brogue in 2020, end of 2020, and lost for a little bit. Talked to a friend of mine who had worked at Labatt's for about 30 years. Shout out to Vince Durizio. And he's like, Shani, you'd be great at mortgages. I'm like, Vince, I don't know the first thing about a mortgage. He's like, well, have you ever had one? I'm like, yep, I've had 3. He's like, so you're good. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take the course. I'm going to see how we do. And I found it so interesting. I felt like I was learning again, and I was exercising my brain. And I thought, yeah, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. So then I interviewed with, I want to say 30 different brokerages. 30.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I was
so
just
glad
talking.
It was just you, and I was done.
It would have been so much easier. But I learned so much because I would answer the phone and I'd be like, nope. There was no connection with anyone. And then I had a customer from the pub say, hey, I think you'd be a really good fit with Carmen Costa. And I was like, who is Carmen Costa? Google. I'm like, oh, she looks fun. So I called and you had called me back, and we talked on the phone for I don't know how long, but it was so natural and it was so relaxed. And I just felt like the weight had been lifted off. And when I got off the phone, I came out into the living room, and Hayden had thought I was talking to one of my good friends. And I was like, no, that was an interview. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, that was an interview. And I go, I think I want to join with Carmen. And he's like, okay. He goes, I haven't seen you like this after any of those other calls. I was like, yeah, because they were not right at all. So,
I think it's amazing because you said something in Fawn Hill that I was talking to Zervain a couple of days later about, is you were like, your interviews are interesting. I just get to know the person. So you're right, Lisa. I like to sit with somebody, and if the conversation flows, then I'm like, okay, then the second they're like, oh, what about features? And you're like, let's create a feature sheet for you, because I'm not a feature person. I'm more about, I need to know if you fit the box. Like, and it's not even a box, fit us as a team, right? Kanik said something to me this morning. He's like, how did you get into mortgages? And I explained, went through the bank, and I didn't like the political, way the bank ran. Nothing against the banks. I want a family dynamic, right? I thought it was great. And that's what we are, right? So, and even when it comes down to, I remember being at a brokerage where they're like, you have to call, then book a time, then you have to go through your compliance. Then it's not just pick up the phone, I'll help you. And we've done this. We've come to a point where if an agent's calling you, you're like, yeah, sure, I'll help you right now, right? Mm-hmm. Because you know the urgency that they feel with their pay, because that's important in this brokerage, is given the pay, making sure the agents are paid on time, right? And you're right. My interviews are literally a conversation. And then Lisa's like, so did you talk about, splits? I'm like, oh, yeah, no, maybe I should call back and go through that. But we do. Like, we have that part where you're doing all the paperwork and talking to the agent after that, right? But I think the key important thing to know is we are a people business, right? We're here to sit down with people, talk to them, get to know them, because sometimes it wouldn't mesh with us. Some people want that, political structure, right? They want that. But we're all human, right? We're all human. And we want to be in our natural habitat, right? Like, I don't want to go in and be fake in an industry, right? And that's what I was saying to Kanik. Because Kanik, like, he said to me, he's like, it's just so awesome here because you get to be who you are, right? And that's what we want, right? So, you see it with the agents, Lisa. Like,
every day.
Yeah, like, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you, if you had to say something that's, what sets us apart from other brokerages?
Well, I think even again in Font Hill, Christian was saying, I know if I need something, and Dee mentioned this the other day too, if I need something and I know Lisa's the person that has that answer, I'll call Lisa. And if she's can't answer the phone, I know it's because she can't get to the phone. Then I'll call Shannon. And somebody in that moment is going to answer the phone, because we all know there's 911s, there's emergencies. And when it's your file and it's your client, you feel like it's an immediate thing and you need to get that answer immediately. And it's a relief to know that someone is going to pick up that phone. And if I don't have the answer, I'm going to get on it like it's an urgent matter for my own client and try to find the answer for them.
For sure.
Because as soon as they're calm and collected, it's like you always say, like they have to be calm for their client, right?
100%.
So if they're calm for their client, then everything's going to go smoothly and the client's going to be at ease with their transaction. So knowing that we're in the background and that we're always going to be there to help, right? Like if I don't know the answer, if it's an underwriting answer that it's above me, then I know that I can go to Amanda and she's going to pick up that phone and she's going to answer me right away.
100%.
We always have each other's backs.
I love it. I think that's amazing. And Shannon, like we throw it to you, being payroll and compliance, I never get anybody calling me like to complain and say, because you're always there to help them. You're like, okay, let's relax. Let's get this sorted, right? So how do you manage that when somebody's coming at you, you know, Shannon, I need this now, blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you handle it?
Hospitality. We'll go back to the bar because that guy needs the beer yesterday, not right now. No, especially when it comes to pay. People have bills. The bank doesn't wait. When you have a bill to pay, the bank does not wait.
For sure.
So if there's an issue in regarding anyone's pay or upcoming pay, I'm on it. Like that is the number one thing that I need to do for that agent at that time.
That's amazing.
I don't like people waiting.
Yeah.
Like it stresses me out if I know that they're stressed out.
I love it because something Christian said when we were here, he was talking about, you know, and I said to him, pay it forward. It comes from the top down, right? Like like Amanda said this to me the other day, she's like, I only do it because you remember how you were. That's how you want it done. And I would be like that. I'm like, I don't want to charge an agent to give them advice or, oh yeah, I'll facilitate this deal with you and then charge you 25 bips, right? Then when the next person starts, you're going to assist that person, right? And you're not going to charge them for, you know, for helping them. But I find that, you know, here it's like, you know, the agents are willing to help. They're willing to answer questions. They're willing to pick up their phone. It's not just from the top. It's, you know, Eric will pick up for anybody, or they're willing to help everybody, right? And that's what we've set, right? But it comes from the top down, and I think that's awesome. Lisa, one thing I wanted to throw to you is, if you could give any advice, somebody looking for a brokerage, what advice would you give? Because you were in, like, it was a couple of years ago, you were searching for a brokerage. You know, how did you prepare to pick the right brokerage?
Coming out of the course,
Yep.
I think I've said this on another podcast, I felt like the wolves were after me.
Yeah.
My phone was ringing off the hook. I might have only interviewed with you, but I had people calling me constantly. We want you to come to our brokerage. Why? Well, we think you're great. You don't know me. I have never spoken to you in my life. You're a number, and they want your numbers, and that's all. But you need to find a home.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a brokerage where you're going to work and you're never going to see the people or talk to the people. You need to find a home, because when you have a home and you have a team, then you're going to be successful.
100%. I always say this too, like Eric was number 2 this month for me. And he called me. He's like, you know, you told me this 5 months ago when I started with you. You said I would be, you know, I would be top 5, you know. And I said, yeah. I said, Eric, you have to have the positivity around you, right? Like when you have a positive environment, and I know I'm like super annoying with the posts and, you know, trying to be positive. And, you know, I'm not always positive, but I read an article last week and it was about, if 80% of the time you're positive, that's good, right? And we are going to encounter where it's a constant negative environment we're in, right? So, but if we in our home have a positive environment, like everybody will reap the benefits from that, right? And when you do that, people work in their best element in that positive environment, right? So, you know, I always say, you know, when I was talking to Eric yesterday, I'm like, Eric, you did it because, you know, you engaged. You know, we can provide all the, you know, everything, the positive environment, you know, all the activities. But if you don't do it, then you're not going to succeed. If you just sit on the sideline saying, oh yeah, okay, sure, oh, here we go, another post. If you don't engage and take it in and actually apply yourself with gratitude, manifestation, you're not gonna be successful. It's a waste of time coming here. I always say when I'm having a conversation, if you want to invest in you, you're gonna succeed. If you want to change as an individual, because anybody can be taught mortgages, but if you're an asshole and you don't want to learn about mortgages or like learn about being a positive person and changing your frame of mind, it's not gonna work for you. And I've seen the changes. You've seen the changes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's what I'm telling you. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I'd be like, Eric, you're so annoying. But he knows, like, it's like, they're learning, like the agents are learning. And I love it because, to watch them, you see from D, when D started to today, she didn't even want to be in front of a camera. Now she's doing videos. That's what I'm telling. Like we've watched it where, Edward's like, I'm not putting pen to paper. I'm not writing things out. And he's creating all the content for like we've seen this, Jamie. You were with us from day one. When I look at that, it's like, oh my gosh. I watch these podcasts. I'm like, oh my, you guys have no idea. Did she ever want to go in front of a camera? She would be, Amanda, no, don't. She would walk out of the office and I'm like, where are you going? Oh, I don't want to be on camera. To what she's doing today. Like that's amazing. And that's the environment that she's in. She's taken it in. She's taken the leap of faith and you're nervous. Everybody's nervous to do that leap of faith. But when you do it, you succeed. Like, look at her. Like, look at her numbers. Like, that's what I try to tell people. I'm like, you know what? We create the environment. We have the best admin, staff. We have the best operation because they understand and they go with, they see the top. Okay, that's what she wants. And they bring it down. And that's amazing. Right? So that's what we want here. We want to build a home for people that want to succeed and work for them, like on themselves, because that's the only way you're going to succeed. Anybody can learn any subject, honestly. But if you're not a good person and you don't want to change, then it's maybe not for you. And Kanik said something to me today. He looked at me, he's like, I'm like, yo, do you want to be on a podcast? But he's like, how do you pick the agents? Like, they just seem to be so good with the team. Like, everybody just seems... Kanik, I talk to a lot of people. I do, and I tell them I talk to a lot of people. Sometimes people just are not a fit here. I let them know we're so annoying and positive. We're those people. And if you don't want that, then this isn't the home for you. No. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to grow your business, this is the place for you. But if you don't want to grow your business and you just want to be 10 or 15 million, then we're maybe not for you. We're outside the box thinkers, right? Like we try to solve problems. We come together to solve problems, right? So to me, it's important to know that. So Shannon, I'm going to throw it to you. If you, when you were looking for brokerages, what made, what were you looking for?
So kind of similar to what Lisa experienced. When you come out of that course, your phone is blowing up. And I didn't know even where to turn. I knew not so much what I wanted, but what I didn't want. So I was in a family environment for a very long time. And it was a very tough decision to leave. But I wanted to come to a brokerage that had that family feel. I didn't even know if that was possible, being so new to the industry. But I found it. And it's funny because we talk daily. Holiday, Saturday, doesn't matter, daily. We talk almost on the daily now.
Yeah.
And it's that family feel. Like, I care about you guys. I care about the families of the agents here. I care what's going on outside of here as opposed to just what's inside. And I think that's what makes us different. It is more of a family event. Having events as well outside of brokerage where it's team building and it's things like that. The amount of people that want to be a part of it is amazing. It's not like it's the same 1 or 2 or 5 people that come, like
people get excited for these events.
100%.
Yeah, they get excited.
But they talk about things that are happening in their lives. So they become, I don't want to say they become friends, but they become closer to each other in the fact of, hey, our kids are the same age, or, our kids are playing hockey, or, something along those lines where they have a common denominator besides mortgages and besides working with TCG.
I love it.
And that's what I love about here. It's like I went from my family to another family.
Well, you have to put in perspective. You're with these people. Well, we are, like the staff that's working regular hours. You're with these people more than 40 hours a week.
100%.
Yeah.
More, I'm here or with you guys working more than I'm with my actual blood relative family.
Oh, it's
right?
so true.
So if you don't love your work family,
gonna be hard.
That's difficult. You have to love the people you work with. I've always said this. It's not the job. It's who you work with. Because if you don't love them and you don't get along with them and work well together, there's no point. You're going to be miserable.
So true. It's so true. And I was saying this to Zervain yesterday. He's like, I feel like we're always doing social hour. I'm like, don't worry. Lisa said we're off for the summer. He's like, you're always cooking something. But it's like, I love it because it's like a family gathering. And Eric called yesterday. I feel like Eric's always being mentioned here, but he called yesterday, and that's something he said. He's like, we're like family. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, I invited them to my daughter's birthday, and it's like they're her aunts. And it's awesome because, you know, she looks at you guys like aunts, and I love it, right? And that's what I want. Like, I want, you know, my agents to be close to my kids and be close to my family and not be like, oh, I don't really like that agent. I don't want them around, you know, my daughter. But it is amazing, like talking to Canuck this morning, it is amazing how the group we have, they are really good people, right? And it's like, it's weird because, yeah, so the people that left, maybe they weren't, you know, meant to be here, but it just works, right? Mm-hmm. And we make it work. And just, you know, between the both of you, I want to give so much gratitude because you guys mirror what I am. And I don't have to worry. I don't have to be like, oh, I have to make sure that this is done. Or, you know, Shannon, compliance, payroll. I think I got off Zoom. I'm like, I'm not doing Zoom anymore. She's good. Lisa's like, I'm still going to stay on Zoom with her. I'm like, oh, you're good, Shannon.
It's just nice that there's no micromanaging. We're
Yeah,
adults.
no. Yeah.
But if we do feel that we need the guidance, you're always there to help
100%.
us. Like, there's never a question.
I'm like the whirlwind, and I say this because it's funny. I am the whirlwind that comes in. I'm like, ah, and then I'm like, and then I leave, and then
we pick up the pieces and clean up the mess.
Well, our husbands are here today, well, soon to be, and Hayden was like, who's singing? I'm like, oh, that's Carmen. She's not allowed to come to the office when we're working. And he's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yes,
she's
Hayden.
a lot, eh? And
Yes,
I was
Hayden.
like, yeah, I said, but I mean, she's best. Like, you can't go wrong. And he's like, no, this is awesome. He's like, yeah, but I kind of want to sing with her. Like,
Yeah, you have the warm and fuzzies when Carmen's around, but
Yeah.
you don't get all of your work done.
No, it's hard. And you know what, though? I do work from home because even like for me, I have to get work done. So I'm like in my office space in a corner, like nobody, doors locked. I need to work when I get work done. And Zervain said something to me that made sense and it put it into perspective. I can do like 5-10 things at the same time. And he's like, you're not normal. I need you to know you're not. And you do it
not
so
at all.
fast. He's like, he's like, stop. He's like, you can't. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a little bit more cognitive when I'm in the office.
Oh, I know, because you'll be like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, step one.
Yeah.
hang on. Good morning.
Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah, no, I wanted to give you guys gratitude. You know, if, you know, we're logging off now, I do want a piece of advice. You know, the best advice you received in life, it doesn't have to do with mortgages, brokerages, any of that. Best piece of advice that you guys would both sign off with. So we've done this lately.
Honestly, just because of lately and what's been resonating with me is pay it forward,
That's awesome.
right?
I love the pay
For all that
forward.
you do for myself and my family, I pay forward.
That's awesome. Shannon's like,
Beat that.
Right? There's so many. My dad is a man of very wise words. And right now I'm like, oh, I can't think of one. I think just be true to yourself.
that's awesome.
Just be true. So there's so many people out there that are fake. We come across it on a daily in any industry. Just be you.
100%.
And have fun.
Have a
Yes.
lot of fun.
Work
Yeah.
hard, but have fun. Like that.
sure.
That should be our motto. We work hard, but we have fun.
100%. All right. So like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. We are on Spotify, right, Jamie? Okay, we're on Spotify. Look us up, Real Talk. Thank you so much to my team. I appreciate you so much for trusting me as your leader. All right, peace. Are we ready?
Na 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 na. Ba na 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 na.
I almost went AF, but we're good.
That was awesome. The things that happen in there are ridiculous. Oh God, Lisa. Yes. I smell like roses.
Glasses are pinching my head.
Here we go. I was gonna start, but she's with her glasses. Take your damn glasses off.
No, I look weird without my glasses.
It's over?
Yeah.
There's a joint on the corner where the big boys play, where the whiskey's running like the river, but they all never come for the booze and bass. I'm the one, I'm the lady that'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. That'll rock this place. Rock this place.